Oh, good, it's working.
Okay, it's working. All right, we're not gonna worry about it. Anyway, welcome to Full Stop Friday. It's Friday, and the reason we're gonna do this on Friday is the most important part to me of the Full Stop is the tiny twist, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. So.
Yes. So we recently reposted a link to our TEDx talk, which was March of last year.
2 years ago.
My gosh, we're coming up on 2 years.
I apologize for the dog.
Don't apologize for the dog. And we had talked about in our TEDx talk an incident that was early in our
I think incident is a little strong.
It was early in our friendship, and it was it was really the first significant prank that Mo had pulled on me very early in our friendship.
Yeah.
And we talked about it because our TEDx talk was about disrupting monotony, and Mo has a really beautiful way of disrupting monotony pretty much all the time. But today we want to talk about, again, we're talking about full stop, and full stop is when, like Mo said, you add a tiny twist, but it has to do with making people feel schwacked, which is our acronym for seen, heard, understood, appreciated, and connected. And we feel like that's kind of the life's blood of everything, is making people feel. Everybody wants to feel that way, and it's important that we make other people feel that way. So this is one of the. So how should we? Do you want to tell it from your end?
Yeah, my rear end.
Not from your end. I did not say rear end. Meanwhile, I'm going to save this, or I'm going to post this on Facebook.
So we were. So actually, Katie and I met through Sweet Adelines, which is barbershop singing, and we had a contest, and we were sharing a room. And false eyelashes are just part of the uniform for Sweet Adelines. So after we got off the stage, we peeled our eyelashes off, and for whatever reason, because we're 12, we put them. Because the news was on the TV, and so we put our eyelashes on the TV so that they were like on the newscaster's eyes.
Yes.
It was wildly hilarious for two people. Anyway,
it was. Well, we were a little punchy. We were full of adrenaline from competing. So probably full of sugar and maybe even a little bit of wine. Who knows?
Most likely.
Who remembers?
Anyway, so at the end of the night, at the end of the trip, we were everybody was packing up, and I did see the eyelashes, and honestly, the reason I chose to take them was because I didn't want to leave that for housekeeping. I just thought that was rude. So I grabbed them, and I'm like, and I didn't at the time. I did not know what I was going to do with them, but I grabbed Embassy Suites, little notepads they have on the table there. So I grabbed that, and I just stuck the 2 pair of eyelashes on that notepad, folded it up, and I carried it home.
And I didn't know any of this.
Right. So you didn't even know
I was not privy to.
But I also wonder if even if you did know that I took the eyelashes, what would have happened anyway?
I don't know.
So, what I'm saying is, it pays to be a hoarder. So I keep everything until its purpose announces itself.
I like to live my life that way as well.
Yeah. So, as I was thinking, and I wish I could remember like what actually made me think to do that, but is it coming up?
I'm just trying to post the. Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, something's happening.
Apparently, we're just checking.
Okay.
There we go. So anyway, what I decided to do was basically take this small thing, the eyelash, and make a big deal out of it. So I said, well, okay, well, what if the hotel mailed the eyelashes, which were just trash. I mean, had we cleaned up after ourselves, they would have gone in the trash. So I went on to Embassy Suites where we stayed. I got the exact address. I downloaded the logo. I made, like you have to run your envelope through the printer. Like it's a specific size and everything. So I ran the envelope through the printer, and then I made a template, like a letterhead. And then I wrote a letter, and I just made up some nonsense about how housekeeping had found it. But what I did was I wrote the letter, and I specifically changed the font, just like when you get a form letter. It's like, "Dear valued customer," and so I changed it so like, "Dear Catherine Stevens," and because whatever name would have been on your credit card, and then I just said housekeeping found these, and while you were blah blah blah. I just valued customer, all that crap. And then
that's someone's motto somewhere. Valued customer, all that crap.
Yeah, we try harder.
Kind of. Yeah. Unless we don't.
We're number 2. and then I signed it. I always sign my letters dot matrix because I think it's funny, but it's also aging me because now most people don't know.
They're like, what's that?
Yeah, although I saw somebody in the Olympics today was referred to as an Audrey Hepburn on ice, and she's just like,
Thank you.
and I'm like, I don't think she knows who Audrey Hepburn is.
She's a fetus.
Anyway, so I signed it dot matrix, and I just signed a dot and then my M for my letter. And the job title of dot matrix in the letter was assistant to the regional manager because I know she likes the office.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put the notepad with the eyelashes, and I folded that inside the form letter, inside the printed envelope, and I mailed it to you.
And now that I think of it, the postmark probably would have been Virginia then.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to look at that. Now, if you were really committed to this prank, you would have driven yourself to Charlotte, North Carolina.
So
that's commitment right
okay,
there.
well, so no, that's you're right. Next level. That's next level. So anyway, and then I forgot about it. And this is the hardest part of a prank for me. When you add these tiny twists, is the patience.
Oh, someone's not big on patience.
Yeah, no, I'm not. So now go ahead and talk about the letter.
So let me just say that at this point, I had only known Mo for maybe 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
I was not aware of the lengths that she would go to pull off a prank. I know now, and I'm impressed. It's impressive. I did know she was retired. Knew she had some time on her hands. Did not know she had that much time or creativity on her hands. So I received this letter from Embassy Suites, and I think it was it on April 1st?
I believe it actually, and that was unintentional. No, you got it on the 1st.
I got it on the 1st, April Fool's Day. Now, I've never been a big fan of April Fool's Day because I think it stems from pranks that I've known of, like historically. I'll take it.
Sorry, the dogs are
just tossed her on the bed. Pranks historically, as I've known of, are often mean, or they make someone feel embarrassed, or they make someone feel scared.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've never been a huge fan of pranks because I also am, I think, embarrassed by that I'm too trusting sometimes, so I'm a little bit gullible, so I tend to fall for things.
I like to leverage that.
That works to your advantage. So I remember I was in the car with my husband, and we were coming home from somewhere, and we always stop and get the mail when both of us are in the car because passenger side mailbox, all that. So I got it, and I opened it, and I remember thinking, like, I can't believe the Embassy Suite saved these eyelashes and mailed them to me. And meanwhile, all of these like logical thoughts are kind of chewing at the edges. Like, the room wasn't in my name. It was in someone else's name. How did they trace this back to me? So there were just like a few little things like that. But I remember opening it and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe they mailed the eyelashes back. That's crazy. And I said something to my husband to that effect. But I also knew that I had jumped right into something else. I don't know if it was teaching or what. So I think I texted you and told you, but that was it.
Yeah, so the text, we should find our text messages. Yeah, so the text I got was, the hotel sent back the eyelashes. And I almost blew my prank cover. I almost said something. Is it okay?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if this is the...
Yeah, let's let it go. And so I almost said something. I'm like, no, I'm just going to let it go. And I'm glad I did. So again, patience is the biggest part of adding these tiny twists.
Which is not always your strong suit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of took it in, texted Mo, went about my day. Didn't really think much of it. Where were you? Were you?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
So then I thought, man, this would be a really funny social media post. So I took pictures of the letter, and I promise you, I had written a post and I was just about to publish it. And I was looking through my camera at the pictures, and I started to notice some things. I noticed the word intergalactic, I think was the first thing that tipped me off. The Sweet Adelines Intergalactic Region 19 competition.
And that was one of those things where, again, when you do a form letter, like, dear valued customer, like, thank you for attending the Region 14 Intergalactic.
Exactly.
So that was one of the form
That
letters
was one of
I
the first ones.
I changed the font and the size.
I know it, and I noticed that, which is why it didn't tip me off, because it seemed very typical. Plus, it had letterhead. My logical brain's going, it's on letterhead. It's real. Then I noticed the dot matrix, and I recognized your M. And what I had was, we had signed something like a thank you note
Yep.
from our quartet,
Yep.
and I actually compared it to that, to your M there, because
Nice.
again, we hadn't known each other for
Yeah.
very long. Then I noticed the assistant to the regional. So then I started texting you, and I was like, OMG, you sent this, you did this. And I was so like impressed, flabbergasted, a little bit embarrassed that I didn't notice it the first time. Like all of those things all at the same time. And it brought me so much, I was like thrilled. It brought me so much delight that you would take the time to pull off a prank of this magnitude. And it did. And it, we didn't have all the verbiage in place at the time, but it did. It made me feel schwacked. It made me feel appreciated that you would take the time to invest into a prank this deeply and mail it. Like, yeah,
So
it was great.
yeah, so just leave that.
I know.
So
I just want to make sure I have the right link posted, but
it was interesting because some of the things that we like to look into is the science of the full stop, or the science of being schwacked and connected. And one of the things it talked about with pranks, I like pranks, but I am very, very, no, I don't mean thoughtful. I just mean I think through things before I do them. And I'm always so this is some of the science of this full stop element, specifically with the eyelash. And it was, you have to have the shared experience. Like I couldn't have just mailed eyelashes to I could have just mailed eyelashes to a stranger, but that makes no sense. There's no context. So you have to share experience. She'd have to find it plausible. And so that was another thing is, I'm going to mess up the scientist's name, but Cialdini was talking about the physical evidence. So the fact that you had the letterhead, that it got mailed, that, fortunately you didn't see the postmark from Virginia, that the eyelashes were in there, that you had you had physical evidence. And so your rational brain is like, oh, well, this makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are the two that I always struggle with when I do pranks is what would delight rather than annoy her?
Mm.
And then the fourth one is what would you appreciate? Would you appreciate the creativity? Now there's some people, like there are some great opportunities to add a twist. But if I don't think the person will get it, like,
Yeah.
and by get it, I mean, they wouldn't find the joy in it, I'm not going to do that because that's kind of defeating the purpose of the full stop. So, and you always said this too.
So Rosie has decided it's kissing time.
You've always said this too about having relational equity, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing about the full stop is while it helps to strengthen the connection, there has to be some sort of relational element that starts it. So you are starting from somewhere, and
Mhm.
again, there are not a lot of people I could have pulled that prank with. I mean, but again, I love those opportunities to find those little tiny twists, and I'm not saying everybody go mail false eyelashes, but it's that kind of thing. But it's that kind of thing that we're talking about, 6-7 years later,
Uh-huh.
and that's what I love about this kind of stuff is it's so easy. It costs me nothing but time, and it was time well spent because and I will say this, even if you didn't fully appreciate, which you got it on every single level, you got it on more levels than I intended it on, but even if you hadn't gotten it, like really gotten it, I still would have had joy because I laughed making up, putting the word intergalactic and how ridiculous could I make it, because it's like, how ridiculous could I make it without making it so ridiculous that it was, like, intergalactic I thought was over the top, but that's what you caught.
Because if I had opened it and seen it being overly ridiculous, I would have known, like, wait a second, but no, you did it. Oh, it was so perfect, so perfectly executed, because it was enough that I turned around and walked away. And I was thinking, isn't that crazy? The hotel, like, I fully believed it.
Yeah.
But then it was enough that it didn't. Yeah, it was perfect.
So here's the other thing is the biggest part of, I think, connection is the dopamine part. So this is kind of getting into the science of it. And so the dopamine comes when you get that aha.
Mm-hmm.
So the dopamine for you didn't come until you realized I was the one who sent it, that I had done that work and all that other stuff. And so it says, and we talk about we're comedy snobs about setting up a joke and the rule of threes, but this is the other research on this says the same neurological sequence as a great joke punchline. So when you have the setup, it creates tension. So when you got the letter, it creates the tension. And then the reveal releases it in a burst of pleasure through that dopamine. So it's almost like when you get the joke, that is the release.
Yeah.
When you understood it was me, that was what the dopamine reinforced the connection we had. And again, like I said, we're still talking about it 7 years later.
Well,
so.
and the cool thing was too, again, we hadn't known each other long, but I think when you meet somebody who gets your weird, and you meet somebody that you know, you just have this sympathetic resonance, which is something else we've been talking about lately. You get it reinforced that, because we were forging this friendship, and what we didn't know was going to turn into a best friendship, and didn't know was going to turn into a business and a brand and a podcast. And this was a full year before we started our podcast even.
Yeah.
This was like literally a full year. This was spring of 19 and we didn't start the podcast until 2020. But like it just reinforced, like I think I really like Mo, and I think there is something really special about our friendship. And this was just like, yep, that drives it home. And we still have moments like that where we're like just so great. I was thinking about this on the way to your house today. How grateful I am too for, and I think maybe we have this in our life but don't always appreciate it, that we have a friendship that very few people get to experience in their lives, and grateful for that. So this was all part of the formation of that. So,
and fidgety dogs, but
my dog is taking a nap now.
No, she is not. She's about to launch off. No, but I thought about. I love talking about the eyelash letter, just because. I will say it was a lot of work. I did put a lot of thought into it. But the reason it was worth it for me was because I knew you would get it. I did know you well enough to know that you would get it. And I think that's the biggest thing is about when we talk about, so when we talk about full stop, we say interrupt the rush, pause with purpose, and then add a tiny twist. And that tiny twist can be anything. And I think it is so easy to do, but it's so overlooked. And I think that was my biggest thing was like, I think about all the different layers. I could have just mailed you the eyelashes and you'd be like, what the F is this? You know, just like, I got eyelashes in the mail. Or I could have mailed them, made the letterhead and just mailed them without any letter. But it just it was like, how ridiculous can I make it? Like, at one point I did think about putting the eyelashes like in a special case, in a box, and putting that in a big, but that was too much. You know what I mean? It would have been over the top. And the way it rolled out because you had so much other stuff going on, like you saw the letter, you acknowledged it, you saw the physical thing, and then you're like, okay, and then it wasn't until later in the day. That was just a fortuitous turn of events.
And if you had not put those little clues, like you were hiding in the letter saying, this is really me, if you hadn't done that, I probably would have gone on and believed that it was the hotel, honestly.
In that prank, that twist falls flat too.
Yeah.
So you know who wins in that is the Embassy Suites in North Carolina. We don't want that.
But if you're right, but if it had been so ridiculous and over the top, I wouldn't have thought it was like, oh, you just rode the line of that. So it's so brilliantly executed.
I will say I put way too much time in this stuff. I will say that. I do that.
Because if I had not seen the word intergalactic when I went to post the pictures, I would have posted it as, I wish I had taken screenshots of the post I had queued up. Hey everybody, can you believe this? The Embassy Suites mailed me back my lashes. That was the post. And then I was literally like, wait a second. So you're so good at that, at adding that tiny twist, and you just executed it so well. But the thing is, adding the tiny twist, I think we're all equipped with the creativity to do it if we just pay attention.
Yeah.
If we just...
But we have to slow down to do it.
That's true. And another thing neither of us are really great at, but we're learning.
Yeah. So here's one more, before we wrap this up, here's one more like science piece of it. And as you know, I love metaphors and analogies, which I call metaphorologies.
She mixes them up.
And again, I talked about the patience of when you first said, hey, they mailed me the thing. And I just said, oh, I didn't say anything. I didn't say, well, did you read the letter? Wasn't it funny? I just
took a huge amount of
huge amount. But what it talked about here was the unplanned elements that made the reveal land better are actually this full stop metaphor, because I created the conditions and I had to loosen my grip and let it unfold. And the prank succeeded partly because I didn't over control it. And I think that's another thing too, talking about the tiny twist, is it's not hard. It doesn't take that much time. You just have to kind of stop and look at it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, if you're the only one who gets enjoyment out of the tiny twist, then so be it. But you have to let go and just trust that your tiny twist was appreciated by the other person. So.
And I think that would be, if we're going to issue a challenge today, which just feels like we should,
Oh.
if we're going to issue any kind of challenge today, it would be like, even if you are saying, hi, how are you to somebody, how can you put a tiny twist in that?
Yeah.
Like, even if it's, hi, where'd you get those earrings? I really like them.
Yeah.
Or hi, if you had to, and I got this from, I went out to dinner with my friend, a mutual friend of ours, Jennifer, the other night. She said sometimes she'll say, hi, on a day of 0 to 10, how's your day going?
Perfect. Yeah.
Versus, how are you?
Right.
Because we are all conditioned to answer fine
Fine.
and go on. And fine, I mean, honestly, fine could be fine could be good, fine could be bad. But like,
And even if we're bad, we're still going to say fine.
exactly, because we just don't feel like dealing
Don't be a monster.
but asking someone like, hey, if today were a color, what color would it be?
Right.
Like,
I love that.
just adding that little, that tiny twist
Yeah.
to make that person stop and have their own full stop moment.
Right.
So you're fully stopping with the challenge of making someone else be challenged to stop as well.
And here's another way to look at it. Be the story that someone talks about at dinner, right? So like someone would be like, dude, this total whack job asked me what color today would be. They're still
Be
talking.
the total whack job.
Yeah, they're talking about it. And I think that's the biggest thing is this, it's just another way to connect with people. And I think we need the connection more than ever right
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's our challenge is find a unique way to greet a total whack job or be the whack job. Rosie's
be
about
the
to-
whack job the world needs
Yeah.
you to be.
Hashtag. Is it WHAC? Doesn't matter. Anyway, that's the dissection of the eyelash letter. I don't know what we're
So
going to
good.
dissect next week.
So
But
good.
yeah, the
I love
science
it.
behind it is the stuff that I like. So go out and create some dopamine hits.
And be wary if Mo has your mailing address. Just watch your mail carefully.
Yeah. MAIL.
MALE.
All right. Go interrupt the rush, pause with purpose, and add a tiny twist.
Just a tiny one.
Blink, blink.
So we'll see you Sunday when we hit record and see what happens, and we'll see you next Friday
For another tiny twist.
for our Full Stop Friday.
Yay!
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.